So we get a lot of people that come from pickup that we call recovering PUAs. And if you've been involved in pickup, you know what that means. And there's just such a different mentality that the whole seduction scene and even self-help scene, it fosters. It's crazy, man. And it makes people crazy. And it gets you so much in touch with what your pain wanted in achieving that rather than what's actually going to make you happy. And so at TSL, with everything that we do, and especially this came from our MD Excellence call on Wednesday night, it's 11 p.m., we're talking about this shit, is that sex will change you, and sex needs to change you. Asexual life will absolutely fundamentally change you as a man. And when I see men actually getting laid, and men that are good with women, men that are having experiences and not changing, then you have a problem. And we see this a lot with guys who get just too saturated into status, or perhaps they have some learning problems like they have Asperger's, or they're just not relating with people for various reasons, or heavy emotional issues keeping them there. Very common for pickup coaches. Very common. Man, every pickup coach should be listening to this because everyone that I know has gotten caught up in it. And it would be great to know that, it would be great to hear the truth, right? The truth of what happens to get out of it so that guys could actually do that. But see, the beauty of it is the way that sex changes you, and so many different things that can change you, getting into your body, getting into your mind, meditation, fitness, a passion that you have. But it's got to be a truth. It's got to be an absolute. It's got to be something that is of man, of humanity, of nature, of life, and not just, some artifacts. I guess I said hobby thing, but not something like that. It's got to be able to be complete, to give you the whole truth of it. And see, the beauty of it is when you saturate yourself into that. Saturate yourself into how we taught and where our philosophy came from, the sexual life, is you get to know your truth. We have so many men who are frustrated with women that hate women. But when you fuck women, when you get women in a relationship, when you exchange this amazing energy between them, you change as a man. You stop caring about that. I remember a long time ago, I was living on Maui, and this guy, I was, in my 20s, early 20s, 21 or something like that. And I walked into this cafe that I worked at. I was pissed off and I was talking shit. And this guy, Brian, who was about my age now, 38, 39. I'm 39. I think he was 38 at the time. He says, "You know what, Steve? My life is pretty full that I don't need to go and look for it and gossiping about other people. So let's talk about your day." And he wasn't meaning to be an asshole, but it was true. And see, we get caught up with this. We make sex about this when sex fundamentally is an experience and an expression of who we are that gets us into the reality of this relaxed person, this awesomeness of mind that is so great that we should be diving into, we should be fighting for. Why is it? Why is it that men and women are different? Why is it that we have these different characteristics that instead we obsess about and try and define for one another? Angry, sexually frustrated women define masculinity on what it should be. Angry, sexually frustrated men define femininity on what it should be. Yet we can't just let it be. And the best way to let it be is to have sex. God damn, man, I have had sex with some awesome women who talk about shit that I dislike, I hate. I've had rapport and connection with people, not just women, who are saying things that I would never be a part of. I mean, horrible things that society says are bad, super racist, super hateful, the opposite of what I believe. Wanting to harm others that I don't agree with. Yet at the time when I can calm myself down and build a connection with them, then I can see the real them. And that real them that shows up may have that hate for that other person, but we're not feeling it right now. Man, we need to make our connections about that. See, socializing and sex can change you in such a powerful way that if you are getting sexual and you are getting social and you are building connections, you are building rapport and seduction with people, and you're still holding on to your beliefs that have to shape somebody in front of you in order to make sense, then man, you're not being social with yourself. You're not having sex with yourself. And that's one of the saddest things. One of the things that got brought up that was on our call, somebody was talking and he said, "Man, I wish I could be sexual like Steve Mayeda," because there's a bunch of Steves on our call now. And he said, "I wish I could have the integrity of Terrence. I wish I could have the wisdom of Rick. I wish I could have, all these different things from other people." But see, the greatest thing about our community is he's dancing around these different characters that we have and different, pillars that we have of guys partaking in it. Man, you should really, really, man, we have a lot of value here. It's amazing. It's better than anything else I've seen. it's fucking awesome. But the reason why we have that is because those people were themselves. They were themselves, and because they went through TSL, they put their sex on the line. They were themselves sexually, and yet they gained wisdom that I cannot have. I cannot be Terrence. I talk a lot. That motherfucker can out-talk me. I cannot be Rick. I cannot be Jim. I cannot be Gary. I can't. I never will be. I can look at certain attributes of them, but the beauty of it is when Gary is himself, when he puts himself out there in the world, he comes up with something beautiful that is completely different than me, of what I might say is beautiful, or what Terrence might say is beautiful, or whoever it is, right? But the coolest part, which gives you your value, isn't what other people say about yourself. Isn't how cool you are. Isn't going with the norm or what society's agreed upon as being the best. But it's the total opposite of that. It's that beauty that sometimes comes out as hate, anger, rage, loneliness, confusion when we're put into a world where we can't communicate, where we aren't being social, where we aren't being sexual, and we're put into that world. And it gets distorted because we don't have an expression. We don't have our face anymore. We don't have our voice. And when we're allowed to have it, guess what? All that fucking shit that drove Gary or Terrence or Rick or Jim or Steve or whoever it is out there to push in these ways that they were banging their head against the wall of, society, relationships, love, whatever the fuck you want to call it, all this resistance that we bound ourselves up in. And man, you let that go. And that uniqueness gets truly seen, and that beauty gets truly seen, because you can only be you. And when you are, that's the only way your greatness can come through.